Reverend Father, ladies and gentlemen, it's a great honour for me to welcome you all here today for the unveiling of this plaque. The reason for erecting this plaque was to create a lasting honour to those men and women and children who died in 1916 Rising. Their sacrifice gave us the freedom that we now enjoy. The plaque was a special commission, and the intention was to capture the spirit of the Rising. The artist was Louise Carroll, and we are very happy with the design and quality of the plaque. The plaque has three main features. The first one is the proclamation. Secondly, the portraits of the 16 leaders who were executed. And thirdly, the national flag. The tricolour was made famous during the Rising, but it was first flown by Thomas Maher in 1848. Ireland was deeply divided at this stage between Catholics and Protestants, and it was during the famine time, as you know. The flag was designed as a symbol of peace. The green represented the Catholics, the orange represented the Protestants, and the white section in the middle brought both of them together as a symbol of peace. The flag on our right, the Irish Republic flag, this flag was also raised on the GPO, and that's the reason why that is here. That flag represents Fenian Ireland.
Irish men and Irish women, in the name of God and the dead generations from which she receives her old tradition of nationhood, Ireland through us summons her children to our flag and strikes for her freedom. Having organised and trained her manhood through her secret revolutionary organisation, the Irish Republican Brotherhood, and through her open military operations, the Irish Volunteers and the Irish Citizen Army, have impatiently perfected her discipline, having resolutely waited for the right moment to reveal itself. She now seizes that moment, and supported by her exiled children in America and by gallant allies in Europe, but relying in the first on her own strength, she strikes in full confidence of victory. We declare the right of the people of Ireland to the ownership of Ireland and to the unfettered control of Irish destinies to be sovereign and indefeasible. The long usurpation of that right by foreign people and government has not extinguished that right, nor can it ever be extinguished, except by the destruction of the Irish people. In every generation, the Irish people have asserted their right to national freedom and sovereignty. 6 times in the past 300 years, they have asserted it in arms. Standing on that fundamental right, and again asserting it in arms in the face of the world, we hereby proclaim the Irish Republic as a sovereign independent state. And we pledge our lives and the lives of our comrades in arms to the cause of its freedom, of its welfare, and of its exaltation among the nations. The Irish Republic is entitled to, and hereby claims, the allegiance of every Irishman and Irish woman. The Republic guarantees religious and civil liberty, equal rights and equal opportunities for all its citizens, and declares its resolve to pursue the happiness and prosperity of the whole nation and all its parts, cherishing all the children of the nation equally, and oblivious to the differences carefully fostered by an alien government which have divided the minority from the majority in the past. Until our arms have brought the opportune moment for the establishment of a permanent national government, representative of the whole people of Ireland, and elected by the suffrages of all men and women, the provisional government hereby constituted will administer the civil and military affairs of the Republic in trust for the people. We place the cause of the Republic under the protection of the Most High God, whose blessings we invoke upon our arms. And we pray that no one who serves the cause will dishonour it by cowardice, inhumanity, or rapine. In this supreme hour, the Irish nation must, by its valour and discipline, and by its readiness of its children to sacrifice themselves for the common good, prove itself worthy of the august destiny to which it is called. Signed on behalf of the Provisional Government, Thomas J. Clark, Sean McDermott, P.H. Pearce, James Connolly, Thomas McDonough, Eamon Kent, and Joseph Plunkett. Could have been them all good.
The highlight of our ceremony, as far as I was concerned, was the reading of the 2016 proclamation. This came together and was produced and written by the children from 4th, 5th and 6th class in the school. Now I'll invite the children from 6th class to read Moyglass National School 2016 proclamation.
People of Ireland, we all hope and dream that the children of 2016 will grow up in a safe and peaceful country. It is our dream that Ireland will be a place of equality, freedom, fairness and peace. Every child has the right to a good education and a proper upbringing. Our hope for the future of our country is that we will have a friendly and safe environment for all communities. No matter how different we are, by being different, we are unique. Everyone should be treated with respect. It is our wish that Ireland will be free of homelessness and that all would have a house that makes them feel at home and safe. Let us give special help to the sick and those in need. We should always respect the elderly and appreciate their wisdom. We need to work together to protect our environment. We need to guard ourselves from the dangers of the outside world by making good choices. We want to live in a drug-free and crime-free environment. Everyone should have the right to stand up for what they believe is right. Be happy. Follow your hopes and dreams.
People of Moyglass, and all of you from outside of Moyglass who have come here today to witness the unveiling of this memorial in stone, erected here in Moyglass in the year 2016 to commemorate and remember our greatest Irish patriots who were executed 100 years ago in the year 1916 for having organised, led and taken part in the 1916 uprising, from which sprang the partial freedom of Ireland, which we are so fortunate to enjoy today in 26 of our 32 counties. The unveiling of this memorial here in Moyglass on this 15th day of March 2016 is a hugely important occasion for many reasons. This memorial is an extremely significant memorial for a number of reasons. Firstly, pictured at the top of the memorial is our national flag, the tricolour of green, white and orange, which represents Ireland. Our tricolour of green, white and orange was first conceived by another Irish patriot, Thomas Francis Meagher of Waterford, who in 1848, as one of the leaders of the Young Irelanders, travelled to France to inspect a rebellion in that country and to see what inspiration he might get from the rebellion over there. Incidentally, Thomas Francis Meagher's grandfather was a Tipperary man. Some people say he is reputed to have come from close to Feathert, others say close to Grange Mochler, but in any case, he was a Tipperary man. Meagher saw the tricolour in France, and while still in France, he was inspired to create the Irish tricolour of green, white and orange. He had the first tricolour made of French silk and brought it back to Ireland. That Irish tricolour was first flown by Meagher from the Wolf Tone Club at 33 the Mall, Waterford, in March of 1848, 168 years ago this month. In April 1848, Meagher presented that flag, our Irish tricolour, to the people of Ireland at a meeting in Dublin where he said, "I trust that the old country will not refuse this symbol of a new life from one of her youngest children. I need not explain its meaning. The quick and passionate intellect of the generation now springing into arms will catch it at a glance. The white in the centre signifies a lasting truce between the orange and the green, and I trust that beneath its folds, the hands of the Irish Protestant and the Irish Catholic may be clasped in generous and heroic brotherhood." Today's ceremony at Moyglass National School, where our national tricolour was presented by a member of Oakleigh-Nairn, the National Army, to the schools and to our youngest citizens, can be interpreted as a reenactment of the presentation by Thomas Francis Meagher of the Irish tricolour to the people of Ireland away back in 1848. It is also fitting that this memorial is unveiled here in Moyglass today on the 15th of March 2016, Proclamation Day. For the central body of the memorial contains word for word the text of the Proclamation of Independence, which Padraig Pearse read in front of the General Post Office on Sackville Street, now known as O'Connell Street, in Dublin on the 24th of April 1916. That proclamation, which we have here in Moyglass today in stone, sets out clearly and definitely the type of country which Pearse and all of the other members of the Irish National Volunteers who rose out against English rule in 1916 wanted for Ireland. An Ireland independent of England, which would put fairness, justice and equality as its guiding principles. The proclamation declared that Ireland would be a republic, for that is the only form of government which purports to treat all of its citizens equally. The proclamation was signed on behalf of the Provisional Government of Ireland by 7 of the leaders of the 1916 Rising. Their names are at the bottom of the proclamation where they signed their names: Thomas J. Clarke, Sean McDermott, P.H. Pearse, James Connolly, Thomas MacDonagh, Eamon Cant and Joseph Plunkett. Their names are now honoured and memorialised here in Moyglass amongst the people whose freedom they fought and died for. And as I said to Matty earlier, I believe that a stone such as this should exist in every parish throughout the country to remind us of where our freedom came from and the sacrifices that were made for that freedom. This proud memorial, which is unveiled here in Moyglass, is completed by the inclusion on each side of it by an image of each of the 16 men executed by the British government for having the audacity to challenge the might of the British Empire for the prize of Irish freedom. As we know, the reading of the proclamation, Poblacht na hÉireann, from in front of the General Post Office in O'Connell Street in Dublin on April 24, 1916, began the 1916 uprising, which claimed in arms the nation of Ireland for the Irish people. The rising lasted for 6 days and 6 nights until shortly after noon on Saturday the 29th of April 1916, Padraig Pearse and the other leaders in Moore Street decided to surrender. The garrison at the Four Courts, led by Ned Daly, also surrendered. The prisoners were taken to the Green outside the Rotunda Hospital, where they were held until the following morning. On the 7th day of the rising, April 30th, 1916, the garrisons at the Royal College of Surgeons and at Jacob's Factory surrendered. The remaining garrisons at the South Dublin Union, now James's Hospital, Boland's Mill and Jacob's Mill surrendered, and the Irish rebels' leaders were all taken prisoner. Pearse's surrender document read: "In order to prevent the further slaughter of Dublin citizens, and in the hope of saving the lives of our followers, now surrounded and hopelessly outnumbered, the members of the Provisional Government present at headquarters have agreed to an unconditional surrender, and the commandants of the various districts in the city and county will order their commands to lay down arms." The GPO was the only major rebel outpost to be physically taken during the week of the rising. The others surrendered only after Pearse's surrender order, carried by Nurse Elizabeth O'Farrell, reached them. The Irish rebel leaders were almost immediately court-martialed and were not allowed legal representation. On May the 3rd, 1916, the execution of the leaders began, and the men whose images are commemorated here in stone in Moyglass were executed by British firing squads. On May the 3rd, Padraig Pearse, Thomas MacDonagh and Thomas J. Clarke were executed. On May 4th, Joseph Plunkett, William Pearse, Edward Daly and Michael O'Hanrahan were executed. On May the 5th, John McBride was executed. On May the 8th, Eamon Cant, Sean Houston and Colin Colbert were put to death. On May the 9th, Thomas Kent was executed in Cork. He didn't take part in the rising, but during the week of the rising, his house in Cork was raided by British forces. After a gunfight, he was captured, court-martialed and executed. On May the 12th, James Connolly, signature of the proclamation and Commandant General of the Dublin Division in the GPO, as well as Sean McDermott, were executed. Later on August 3rd, Roger Casement was found guilty of treason and was hanged in Pentonville Prison in England. The 1916 rising was over. The British thought they had won, and they had, for the time being. However, over 3,500 rebels were arrested and sent to various prisons throughout Britain. Many of them were eventually imprisoned in Wales at Frongach Prison. The Irish people were appalled at the long list of executions of the Irish leaders throughout the month of May and ending only in August with the hanging of Roger Casement. The fact that most of the surviving rebels were imprisoned together in Frongach in Wales gave them an incredible opportunity, and they used that opportunity well. Frongach became a fertile ground for sowing the seeds of Irish Revolution. The Irish rebels used their time well and organised classes in the Irish language and in guerrilla war tactics. In Frongach, they decided that the war was not over and that they would continue the fight for Irish freedom begun by the leaders commemorated here in stone in Moyglass. That war, the Irish War of Independence, began on the 21st of January 1919 at Salahead Beg near Tipperary town. It ended with the truce of the 11th of July 1921. That War of Independence, inspired by the men and women of the 1916 Rising, and it succeeded in winning for us the freedom which we enjoy in Ireland today. I won't go into the details of the War of Independence, as there will be lots of time over the next 5 years to study the details of that war as we encountered the centenaries of each event as they happen. I would like, however, to bring your attention to one small detail. On the date of the truce in 1921, Moyglass was part of the 7th Battalion of the Irish Republican Army. The 7th Battalion of the Drangan Battalion was comprised of A Company, Drangan, B Company, Ballingarry, C Company, Cloneen, D Company, Killusty, E Company, Moyglass, F Company, Laffin's Bridge, and G Company, Killinall. On the 11th of July 1921, the date of the truce, when the fighting stopped, of the 7 companies in the 7th Battalion, Moyglass had the most volunteers, 64. So you can all appreciate that the people of Moyglass were truly motivated and inspired by the men and women of the 1916 Rising. We, the Irish people, have been given our freedom by the hard-fought battles of 1916 and 1919 to 21. Having been given that hard-won prize of Irish freedom, a prize for which Irish people had fought for over 700 years, there is a duty on us to use that freedom to create the best Ireland possible for ourselves and for all the Irish people who come after. And so I would like to congratulate you all here in Moyglass for coming here today and for all your efforts in commemorating our patriots. In it you have commemorated the tricolour, which inspires us all with its noble ideal of unity. You have commemorated the 1916 Rising, the proclamation of 1916, and the executed leaders of the Rising. But perhaps just as important as this memorial is the work which has been done by the children of Moyglass with their teachers on a proclamation for the future of Ireland to create a better country for all to live in is also very important. And for one, I would say that all of the leaders would be quite happy with the proclamation presented to us here today by the school children of Moyglass. If we had an Ireland that espoused all of the values that were included in that 2016 proclamation, I think we'd have a pretty good country. You, the school children of Moyglass, have a right to be proud of the work that you've done with your teachers on framing that 2016 proclamation. We, the people, we believe that it is possible to create a better country where we can all live in equality and justice, where no child or family is homeless, where all have equal access to medical care and the health service, where Irish people do not have to go abroad to work unless they want to. We believe it is possible to create a country which, in the words of Pearse, Connolly, McDermott, Clark, MacDonagh, Kent and Plunkett, cherishes all the children of the nation equally. We should remember that the Ireland in which we live today is politically divided between the 26 independent counties and the 6 counties which are still governed by Britain. The Proclamation of Independence, which is memorialised here today in Moyglass and which was read from the GPO on the 24th of April 1916, that proclamation was a proclamation of independence for 32 counties, not for 26 counties. A big part of the creation of a better Ireland should be the reunification of our people, so that Ireland once more becomes united, and in the words of Thomas Francis Meagher, the creator of our national flag, the white part in the centre of our flag will legitimately become the most significant part, signifying a lasting truce between Irish people of all traditions. We believe that those aims can be brought about by peaceful means and without any further loss of life. All of those aims for Ireland, the aims of equality, justice, unity and peace, will not happen easily, but they can happen. They will take hard work and sincere effort on the part of each Irish person. But I believe you, the school children of Moyglass, along with all the other children from schools throughout the Irish nation are well able to bring about those noble aims of the men and women of 1916 and of 1919 to 1921 and create a modern, fair and just country that we can all be proud of. You have all begun that work with your efforts on the proclamation. I wish you well as you work towards to bring the aims of your 2016 proclamation and the aims of the 1916 proclamation into being. You have started well, and I have no doubt that you will succeed. Berigi Bua Golair.
A big thank you to Michael. I think that was a great speech. And as Michael said, the people of Moyglass can feel very proud of what we have done here. And we'll have a few more tunes and then we'll close the ceremony. I just want to thank everybody who helped in any way to make this such a great success. There are super sanctuaries available in the village inn for anybody who would like to avail of it. Thank you very much. My father was a member of the Tour Brigade, Old IRA, and he was bringing a dispatch. There was a dispatch to go through between Rose Green and Drangan one night, and they knew that the British Army were at the cross of Coolbawn. So my father volunteered to bring that dispatch, and he knew he'd be caught. I knew he'd be brought into Clonmel. He was captured and marched into Clonmel at gunpoint, and he was in jail in Clonmel, and he often told me many of his friends were shot at that stage in the jail. He eventually was transferred to Kilkenny, and he went on hunger strike in Kilkenny. And when he came out, he had a big black beard, and he was often called Black Matty. They tell me that was the reason why he was called Black Matty. So I suppose you could say that we're steeped in that tradition, and that's why I feel so proud today to be able to do something for those men who can't do it for themselves. They are people who are willing to give their lives, and surely we at our stage can do some little thing to make sure that they're remembered in history. I tell you, it's extremely hard to get the details, because the members of the IRA, or the old IRA, is what we're talking about. Those men were sworn into secrecy. I remember my father, when people would come around to him when they were writing books and they'd ask him for information, there's no way to give any information. It was part of their training, I think, that they kept themselves, kept the secrets to themselves. But he went as far on hunger strike as was possible to go, seemingly. He was carried out at the last seconds. When my father was a young fella, and he was born in 1902, he was still quite young when he was in the old IRA. The reason, I think, for it was because they were blackguarded by the British, and they saw this as they grew up. And, like, the British took over Ireland, and my father thought that was a fierce injustice. And his job was to get it back. And he wasn't happy with the 26 counties. He used to always say to me, "We've 6 more steps to get up." But in time, you'd never know. We're gone beyond that now anyway. It's a peaceful country. The Tynan family all originated from Coolbawn. And all the Tynans would be orientated towards the old IRA. That would be part of the family. My mother's family, she was O'Gorman. They originated from Moyglass Village. We were always brought up when we were youngsters in the belief that we were entitled to Ireland for ourselves. The black and tans, like the things that they did to Irish people, were uncalled for. And those men who died in 1916 also, they knew they were going to die, but they were willing to give their lives so that Ireland could be free in the future. That's the tradition, I think, that we're commemorating here today. One of the reasons why we wanted to do this plaque or monument was for that particular reason, that we would instill into the younger generation what those people did in 1916 and following on into the War of Independence and Civil War and all of that, that we're hopefully, and that's why all these kids are here today, they'll remember this forevermore. And they'll think of the day that they were here in Moyglass. And hopefully it will instill into them a sense of patriotism. We don't want any more bloodshed, that's for sure. But we still feel that Ireland belongs to the Irish people. And it's very hard to put your feelings on it. We just have to accept that from now on it's going to be a peaceful process. And hopefully someday the 32 counties will be won again. I think if you want to be patriotic, first of all, you don't do any harm to anyone. You don't blackguard anyone. You don't want to see drugs being used. You want to see a good hospital service. Basically, what we need is proper human rights. I think we'd be all happy if we were all cherished equally. And I feel that governments could do a lot more if they forgot about what happened in the past and think of the future.
She'd want to change, she'd want to change, man.